Skip, we've seen players, not just black players, but white players. We've seen them rise up the draft board. We've seen them slide down the draft board. But what seems to happen when we're evaluating black quarterbacks as compared to their white counterparts, there are certain labels. Skip, now I don't think that players like, oh, he black, I'm not drafting no black quarterback. But there are subtleties, there are nuances, there's subconsciousness that goes on that maybe they don't even know. It seems to me that white guy, when they describe white quarterbacks, they're always the first in and the last out. And I don't see that title put on a lot of black quarterbacks. I always hear so hard working. Black guys are very talented, as if black quarterbacks aren't hard working. They're just God-gifted, had just natural ability. And I think that's some of the things that we start to hear, like, hold on. You didn't describe that guy like that, but you described him like that. And I think that, but also, Skip, there's something going on here. Now, people got to realize Ohio State wasn't Justin Fields' original destination. He did go to the University of Georgia.
He did.
So are they talking to people at the University of Georgia and getting information that they didn't get from Ohio State? So you got to understand that they're probably talking to two people.
Okay, and why did he transfer?
Right. Why did he transfer? What was he?
Jake
Rick,
Fromm.
No. Rick was the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
I'm asking Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, what was going on? What was it like in practice? I'm asking
the point was, he as a freshman, he couldn't beat out sophomore Jake Fromm and decided, I'm going to Ohio State.
Right.
Okay.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the number 2 quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence from Cartersville. He's from Harrison County, Kennesaw.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both north of Atlanta, Skip.
Yep.
So I think that's what's playing on. So maybe Georgia is putting out some information. Skip, I don't know, but this is what we do know. We do know that there are subtleties that black quarterbacks get critiqued with that their counterparts never get critiqued with. Black players going into the draft get asked questions. Skip, they would have never asked a white player what they asked Dez about his mom. They never. You think Jacksonville Shah Khan asked Trevor Lawrence, you got any tattoos? You got any piercings? Keep it that way. As Mr. Richardson did Cam Newton. Skip, so there are subtleties that go on that goes to play that really has nothing to do with play. Watch the tape. Can the guy play? I mean, all of a sudden it seems like to me that Justin Fields has gotten worse, that he's not playing any football. Hell, you loved him when he was playing. Now the guy, he's sliding down the draft boards. How? He ain't playing anybody. Did he get sacked yesterday? Did he throw a pick or something I don't know about, Skip? You see, that's the problem that I have. I don't think Skip is just blatantly, I don't want no black quarterback. Now, it used to be that. Mm-hmm. It used to be that. But I think the subtleties, maybe they've gotten a little more subtle with it, with the way they address it and the way they handle and the way they say certain things.
Yep. But
when you put it out there enough, I don't know how hard working he is. He's not the first guy in the building. He's not the last guy to leave. He's talented, but I don't know if he's a student. Skip, that's another one. Student of the game. We get that a lot. So, Skip, it's just really hard to say. But for me, I don't know what you gather from Justin Fields' pro day. Either you like the guy's tape or you don't. It's as simple as that, Skip.
Yep. Okay. This is a slippery slope that we're on talking about this.
Right.
All your points to me are extremely valid. Does racism still exist in NFL executive offices and draft rooms? Yes, it does.
Yeah, because it still exists in society.
Okay,
football is a microcosm of society.
It is a microcosm. Does it exist the way it did when I first started covering the 1970s? No, it does not. I told you my Doug Williams story. I spent a week with him at Grambling. I thought he was going to be the first pick in the draft. I'm talking to several GMs. One told me he doesn't have the mental capabilities to play in our league. And he fell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 17. And I was dumbfounded by that because, seriously, he was the best quarterback in that draft. And seriously, he went on and became the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl for Washington.
Correct.
Okay. I'm pretty sure times have changed from those days. But now we get to Justin Fields. Okay, first point of order that I would like to make is I will not be at all surprised if Justin Fields goes second overall to the New York Jets. Won't surprise me a bit. So it's too early to say his stock fell. That's a media narrative for sure.
We don't know if his stock has fallen until
you can't trust it until it falls.
Right.
If he's the one who gets stuck in the green room on draft night like Aaron Rodgers did, you got me.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll have this discussion again.
Okay.
Has racial sensitivity in this country been greatly heightened over the last year or so? In my view, yes, greatly heightened. I underline the word greatly because I think we've gone through a great period of enlightenment thanks to Black Lives Matter, and unfortunately because so many unarmed black men and women have been shot down by white cops. We just saw another one.
Right.
It was an accident. Okay.
Or choked, strangled.
Or choked, or all those, yes. So I would like to think that over my time on television, that among white commentators, I've been about as quick as any to cry racism when I see it. I'm not ready to here.
Right.
I need to wait until draft night, but I'm not sure I see it just yet. And I don't want people to be crying wolf instead of racism.
Correct.
Because you have to be careful with that, because you don't want to go there and dilute the meaning of it if it's not operating just yet.
Yes, yes.
It could be.
Right.
But I'm not so sold on it just yet, because you and I have both tried to evaluate Justin Fields.
Right.
And we agree, it's all there.
Yeah.
6'3", 224, ran a 4.40.
Right.
Nice arm.
Nice.
I'm not saying it's like a rocket launcher, but it's a nice arm.
Right.
It's way above average.
Right. You don't need to have Patrick Mahomes' arm.
No, because none of these kids do, except maybe Trey Lance. I'll get to him in just a second. He's the closest thing to that.
Right.
The thing with Justin Fields is, if you really break down his career, his peaks are higher than any of these quarterbacks, including Trevor Lawrence. When he is on, when he is hot, he can get hotter than any of them. Seriously, because that game against, so speaking of Clemson, that was just spectacular, where he is just on crazy fire, where he can't miss a throw, and you say, that's the first pick in the draft. But he will throw in an occasional stinker that will give you pause. You'll sit back after you watch the Indiana game, which I think we both did, and it became a shootout that shouldn't have been a shootout because he threw 3 interceptions. And then the game in the Big Ten championship game at Indianapolis against Northwestern, it shouldn't have been that close. They were just a, hopeless underdog fighting their guts out. And some of the numbers here, Justin just had a bad day. And you can say it was his one bad day at the office, but he went 12 of 27. That's not even 50% for 114 yards. No touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Had a QBR of 33 in that game. This is the Big Ten championship game. Scale 0 to 100, QBR 33. It stops you for a moment, and you shake your head and say, well, should I care about that, or should I dismiss that game?
But the problem that I have, Skip, if you look at Trevor Lawrence, his sophomore and junior year wasn't like his freshman year.
It was not. Well, I've said that several times.
But everybody keeps saying, he has it down. He has, his sophomore year was fabulous. Like Jenny's had in the read, Skip. If he could have come out then, there's no question. He was going to be the second pick in the draft, maybe even the first. But, he comes back for his junior. He has to come back for his junior year, and then we see what happened. But Trevor Lawrence, his freshman year was the best year of his college career. His sophomore and junior year wasn't as great as his freshman year, but still, no red flags, no marks, everything. He checks all the boxes. He has prototypical.
Later in the show, stay tuned for this, we're going to talk about some new quotes in Sports Illustrated from Trevor Lawrence that would give me big pause. Big pause.
I saw when I saw that, I say, this is going to bother my partner.
Okay, it would hugely bother your partner about this white quarterback. Okay, now let's go to the other black quarterback rising up the boards, I think. I told you yesterday, I'm starting to get on fire with Trey Lance because I keep watching the highlights. I didn't watch a game. I only see the highlights. He is growing on me. And then I read a story today on ESPN.com in which it points out that Trey Lance, in his redshirt year at North Dakota State, when University of Minnesota said no unless you want to play safety or linebacker. And he was so possessed, so obsessed with becoming an NFL quarterback that in the offseason, he was watching NFL tape. So let's not disqualify him stereotypically as a guy who shows up late and leaves early. He's the flip side. He's got high intangibles, extreme, like obsessive work ethic, Brady-esque, if you will, work ethic. So let's keep this all on a level playing field about what's going on here. So Mac Jones, he comes out of nowhere. He did start 3 games 2 years ago, and they were good. I looked at the numbers. They were good.
He was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable, but guess he was throwing to Judy and Ruggs and
Waddle and
Devontae. I mean, come on, with Najee in the backfield. And one of the best offensive lines.
And he had 2 first-round offensive linemen last year. He probably have 2 more this year.
Okay, so we get it. But seriously, if you look at Mac Jones' numbers last year, they're just all-time.
Yeah.
Okay, should they have been? Well, if you threw me in at quarterback, could I put up No, I could not. I'm not sure a lot of quarterbacks could put up those numbers. And he did it effortlessly. He never seemed, it looked like he wasn't even breaking a sweat, man. And he's putting up a QBR of 96 for the whole year. And Justin Fields was really good at 92, but he wasn't at 96 because he had a couple of clunkers thrown in there. Okay, so what are we supposed to do with that? Okay, so the only racial component that I heard came from Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, in which he said somebody, I guess a scout or somebody told him that he's last in and first to leave. But then he backed off about that, I think, and completely apologized and said it got taken completely out of context.
Well, I don't know how you take that out.
I don't know how. And then Kirk Herbstreit, who's very close to Ryan Day, the head coach, has just vehemently defended Justin Fields and says that Ryan Day he's all in on that kid, and on Dwayne Haskins, Ryan Day was not all in. I was not all in on Dwayne. I sat right here in this chair. I said, no, I'm not seeing it. And according to Kirk, Ryan Day is now saying to him that Dwayne just wasn't ready yet. He needed another year of college football. He hadn't grown up yet. And obviously he gets thrown into the fire at Washington, and that's the end of that.
Skip, Dwayne Haskins was right. Because here's the thing, if he's not ready and he comes back and he gets exposed, you see what happens? He get picked apart like Justin Fields. Now, if Justin Fields was ready last year, now he comes back because he's forced to because of the draft status, because he's an underclassman, his graduating class. He has to come back, and he gets picked apart.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.